Burlesque by Kamari333. Chapter 27. Meet the Family, Part 3. Dance pulled Lust through the shortcut back to Lust's living room. The whole apartment smelled amazing. Spices and grilled fish substitute wafting through the air, making Dance's mouth water. He just stood there, wondering who it was that had broken into Lust's kitchen and used it to create a 5-star dinner. Lust groaned in delight, leaning into him. "Welcome home, sweetheart." Red's voice called from the kitchen, answering Dance's question. Holy fuck, that wasn't even fair. Red shouldn't be allowed to have so much goddamn talent. "Got a surprise for you." And didn't that sound ominous? "I hope it's dinner." Lust purred, even as Dance led him to the kitchen to see the source of those savory smells. But someone else was in the kitchen with Red. Their back was to the doorway, looming over Red to watch as he worked at the counter, distributing what had to be dinner across 4 plates. Dance knew who it was. He'd know that person anywhere. Papyrus turned around, smiling sweetly, but Dance could see it, feel it, that victory gleaming in his eyelids, dripping from his every move. "Hello, brother." Dance felt his whole body, his mind, his very soul, come to a crashing halt. No, this was all wrong. This was too soon, not now. He can't be here now. He can't do this now. "Oh?" Lust looked between Dance and Papyrus, confused, just like Dance was confused. How the hell did Paps even get here? How the hell did he find this place? "You're Dance's brother? It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Lust." Lust offered his hand. Red, behind Paps, went rigid, sweat beading on his skull. Confusion and shock and panic hit Dance like a freight train. "It is nice to meet you, other person I am uncertain I should know. I am the great Papyrus, but you may call me Suave, because I am that too." Papyrus replied good-naturedly, taking Lust's hand and shaking it. "If I may ask, how do you know my brother?" "We're, dating?" "Really? I was under the impression that the large angry one with the sharp teeth and no self-control was whom my brother exchanged slime with." Dance stuffed his free hand into the pouch of his hoodie, clawing at the fabric inside, fighting down the hysteria threatening to overwhelm him. Paps thought Red was his boyfriend. Oh god, oh shit, he could see it. His brother confronting Red, and Red thinking he was Pink, because of course Red wasn't there to meet Pink. Of course Red didn't know any better. Oh god, oh fuck, what the hell did Paps tell him already? What did he say? What did he do? What has he done? What has he done? Lust's laughter just barely made it through the storm of Dance's mind. Well, maybe indirectly. Dance felt every ounce of his magic once again flood his face. He reached up and pulled his hood down over his eyes, praying that the ringing in his skull was from sensory overload and not him actually whistling like a tea kettle. Oh fuck, he really had indirectly exchanged slime with Red. Lust had happily been the medium between them. How many times had he tasted mustard and watermelon and smoke on his date mate's kisses? Oh shit, oh fuck. Papyrus looked Lust up and down. "You say that quite casually. Wowee. I did not realize excessive promiscuity was in the dating manual." And those words broke through the maelstrom, cutting through the static of hysteria with a blade of outrage. "Papyrus," Dance growled a warning. Behind Paps, Red set the pan down, turning slow, deliberate. His posture was suddenly, dangerously fluid. He scowled as he bored into Dance's brother's skull with his glare. "What? I am only saying I think it is a little disrespectful to openly betray someone you profess to adore. You deserve much better than that, brother, even if you do not think so. And also," he continued, as if he couldn't tell that he was already upsetting them enough as it was. Of course he could tell. Dance knew he could tell, gesturing to Lust. "A date mate should have enough respect for you to not openly advertise availability. You know what else is disrespectful, bro? Dance hissed between clenched teeth, shifting so he got between Paps and Lust, who had gone still and quiet, too quiet. His smile strained and his grip tight and trembling on Dance's arm, eyelids downcast. His hood flipped back down, settling like a mantle against his back. Dance loved his brother. He adored him. Paps had always been the one good thing in the world back underground, the one reason he kept getting up in the morning, even if he wasn't the only reason he stayed up. But right now, Dance was filled with an incredible urge to punch him in the face. How fucking dare he? Coming into someone's home and attacking them passive-aggressively. Dance answered his own question, taking a step forward. Going behind my back when I told you to wait to meet my date mate. Another step. Insulting the monsters I'm very much in love with right in front of me. You love me? Lust blurted out. All of Dance's rage was snuffed out in an instant, replaced with a flood of embarrassment, astonishment, elation, love, and mortification. He quickly yanked his hood back over his skull, trying to hide from the world and everyone in it, wishing the floor would open up and swallow him whole. Yet at the same time, he felt like a weight had been lifted and he could float away at any moment. Red's skull glowed like a gift mist light, deep ruby hues gradiating outward from his nasal ridge, his single eyelight snuffed out entirely. Dance was stuck staring at him around Papyrus, catching the admittedly spectacular view from under his hood until he managed to scrounge up the courage and turn his head to look at Lust. Lust was glowing just as brightly in brilliant violet, his eyelights shaped like pulsing hearts. I... Say something, you idiot! Dance couldn't quite get his voice to work. Lust saved him the trouble by yanking him around and into a kiss, curling his entire body around Dance, arms around his neck and one leg over his hip. Dance was awash in unfathomable euphoria, instinctually clutching to Lust and pulling him closer, returning that kiss with as much passion as he could muster. The utter relief that Lust wasn't repelled by hearing that word so soon was so strong, Dance worried he'd fall over. He wasn't going to think about how this ruined everything with Red. Dance shook in Lust's arms. He was shaking. Lust pressed closer, uncaring, but he should care, but he was gross and shameless, and he honestly could not make himself care even the slightest bit. That Suave was watching as they shared that moment, this moment, that should have been private and personal and just between the two of them, or was it the three of them now? Oh, please, let it be the three of them now. Because maybe Lust wanted to be close to his boyfriend after hearing that Dance loved him. Dance loved him. Oh God, yes, 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 yes! Lust didn't care how judgy or abrasive Suave was today. Nothing, absolutely nothing, was going to ruin that for him. Hell, he might even thank Suave later, because Dance loved him, and he said it, and Lust was the happiest monster in the universe. Dance's grip on him was strong, desperate. Lust didn't even try to pull out of the kiss until the shaking stopped. Dance hid his face against Lust's shoulder, pressing against the collar that was sparking excitedly, the refreshing chill lapping at Lust's neck in irregular waves until it too slowly calmed, the rhythm matching Dance's breathing perfectly. Or perhaps it was Dance matching his breathing to it, feeling it from the other side. "Are you and your brother staying for dinner, baby?" Lust asked softly. "Only if you're okay with it." Lust hummed thoughtfully. Only if you promise to stay the night after he goes home." "Yeah, think I can do that." Lust rubbed soothingly at Dance's back, giving him all the time he needed before pulling away. Red had composed himself between the last time Lust had looked him over and now, his eyelids small and pallid, brows knitted in thought, gaze slightly to one side, teeth downturned in concentration, jaw locked and tense as he ground his teeth. As if on cue, he passed out the dinner plates in sullen silence, shoulders tense. Suave accepted his plate gratefully. "Thank you! Now where should we sit? Lust gestured to the living room before taking his plate from Red with the hand not still kneading at Dance's spine through his hoodie. He couldn't help but notice how Red and Dance avoided looking at each other, their phalanges never even coming close to touching as the plate was exchanged between them. Lust shifted his grip on Dance, his hands sliding down to grip lightly at his hip. He guided Dance and led Suave out to the living room. Dance and Lust both took their usual spots on the couch. Suave took Red's spot on Lust's other side. Red didn't come out of the kitchen. Papyrus almost felt bad for his jape. Almost. But he was also glad he had said those not-so-nice things. He'd gotten to feel it, how underneath the surface, underneath the anger and the defensiveness and the unpleasant shell, Red really did care about his brother. And he also cared very much about the scantily clad skeleton, Lust, which was unorthodox but also very nice. And Lust, he loved his brother so much and loved Red so much. All those powerful feelings of affection radiated from them both in waves. Papyrus's only real concern was Sans's reaction. Sans wasn't the type to get angry. Not like that. Not with that kind of ferocity. Sans had always been the passive-aggressive type, emphasis on the passive. It was the same kind of viciousness that dripped from Red. And while Sans was a passionate, affectionate monster, the level and nature of what Papyrus had just seen him display was different than he usually showed, far more like that of Lust. Sans had never been particularly sensitive outside of an encounter, so the way he now absorbed and reflected the emotions of these two was ridiculous and a little alarming. Sans had never been particularly emotional to begin with. Even Papyrus had difficulty reading him. But as soon as these two were with him, he was suddenly loud with his feelings, open and honest in a way that Papyrus had only ever dreamed of. Papyrus was desperately, desperately glad to see that the monsters his brother had gotten mixed up in were so deeply devoted to his happiness, or he would seriously consider trying to split them up for real. It was a shame that the situation had caused Red to deteriorate into such an emotional mess. He hid it well physically. Nobody would know the sheer level of panic and self-loathing he was feeling if they were not as acutely aware of magic as the great Papyrus. Papyrus had to exert quite a lot of control on the output in the room to keep those feelings from overwhelming his brother as he calmed down from his overload. It was probably a good thing Red didn't follow them out of the kitchen. Lust's calm and happiness was much better for Sans to be mirroring. On the brighter side, the food was absolutely divine. Red had made a kind of grilled fish substitute and used ketchup as a base for the sauce. It wasn't even greasy, a true feat when incorporating meat and ketchup into a dish. Maybe with cooking like this, Sans might actually eat more than just condiments and potato chips. Papyrus couldn't be happier, under the circumstances, which were apparently out of his control and he absolutely hated. "This is certainly above average. My compliments to the chef," he shouted to the kitchen doorway. He didn't let the fact that Red's steady stream of panic and self-loathing didn't even waver from his place in the kitchen get him down. He had complete faith that his brother and their apparently shared date mate would handle that mess after he left. Sans took his first bite of dinner, and Papyrus could see and feel that the taste blew his metaphorical mind. His eyelights dilated, sparking, shifting briefly to hearts. His body stiffened, then relaxed back into the couch as though he were trying to meld with it, to become another lump in the cushions. Lust's fond, relieved smile as he too watched was endearing. Lust tasted it and made a noise of pure, unadulterated satisfaction. There was a hint of smug pride underneath it all, which made Papyrus wonder if Lust had had something to do with the meal. He decided not to probe, allowing the three of them to fall into a companionable silence as he discreetly wafted Red's negativity away from his brother. After cleaning his plate, Papyrus stood up, stretching. I would very much love to stay and get to know you all more, but it seems the time has gotten away from me and I must be getting home. Brother, would you mind using your space-time japery to assist? Sure, bro. Sans mumbled, drifting into somber apathy now that he wasn't distracted by food. He stood up, setting his empty plate on top of Papyrus's. Papyrus offered his hand again to Lust. I know I am very intimidating and great, but know that you have made a very good impression upon me despite your many flaws. Maybe we could all go out together sometime. I know a marvelous dance club. Papyrus, Sans growled, catching on to yet another trap Papyrus had hoped to set for him. I would like very much to get to know you better later, Lust answered, winking with his right socket at Papyrus as he shook hands with him. Papyrus didn't let the disingenuous ring to those words dishearten him. He knew it was only because Lust was worried about making a bad impression on someone with standards as high as his. He shouldn't worry. He's met the most important standard, making Sans happy. Now the next step was making Sans healthy, which was a long-term goal, and one Papyrus was excited to have more help with. Marvelous! Here, since we must obviously be friends now, have my number and call me any time. He quickly pulled out a Sharpie and a Post-it note, writing his number on it and handing it to Lust before taking Sans' hand. And do give a copy to Red, please. Sans pulled Papyrus a little harder than usual through his shortcut, taking them directly into their shared living room. What the hell, Paps? Sans hissed the second they were alone. I told you to let me... You were stalling and I was worried. I will not apologize for worrying about my brother whom I care for very much. Were you stalking me? Of course not. I met Red while I was shopping with Undyne. It was a good thing, too, because she was nice enough to bring my car back after I left with Red. And you just invited yourself to dinner. I may have suggested it, Papyrus admitted, but Red extended that invitation. Do you have any idea what I've... Sans seemed to lose his momentum, taking a deep, grounding breath and covering his sockets. You got what you wanted. You met him. And he's never going to want anything to do with me again. Do not be so dramatic. Papyrus snorted, crossing his arms after miming the act of swatting away his brother's irrational concern. He is so disgustingly smitten with you, I could feel the slime trying to be exchanged between you both when you were across the room from each other. You got your emotional slime all over me. We did not. You did, and I am offended you didn't inform me of not one, but 2 date mates. That's twice the secrecy. I didn't want to talk about it. You should have, and you need to be more careful. I'm very proud of you for becoming so much more empathetic, but channeling that kind of rage at me was uncalled for. Sans froze, his eyelids guttering out. What? Papyrus squinted at his brother. Your empathy has gone up tremendously. I am very proud. Also, do not throw your grumpy date mate's anger at me. It's what? Oh, okay. He didn't know. You did not notice. Notice what? Papyrus sat down. Sans, you are feeding off of them all night. Red's anger when I commented on Lust. You had a meltdown from it? It melded with yours, and I think you wanted to throw a chair at me for a bit. It was kind of funny, but also not very funny at all, because it was... uncharacteristic. None of your puns, this is serious. Maybe I need to sit down and get to the bottom of this, Sans continued, settling on the couch, his lazy grin straining against his face, eyelights still missing. His voice was soft and easy, but Papyrus could just feel the ripple effects of his barely suppressed hysteria. He'd slipped his hands into his hoodie pouch, where Papyrus could see he was wringing them, the faintest sign of movement within the fabric. Sans! You're smiling. I am, and I hate it. I wouldn't know, since I can't feel anything. Yes, you can. You feel that? That mild annoyance that is starting to build up into irritation on top of that bedrock of affection and brotherly concern? Those are my feelings for you. You know them. You felt them when you used to dance with me, which you should still be doing, and I still do not understand why you do not. Breathe, bro. I do not need to breathe, and I am entitled to my annoyance and excitement. Oh my god, I've been channeling them. Papyrus sat there, watching his brother as he finally worked around the denial so thoroughly embedded in his soul. Yes, and that is wonderful, but please stop throwing anger at me. How much of my feelings for them is just residue? How much of my life is a lie? What? Do you still love them? Yes? Papyrus smirked. There is nothing here to manipulate that feeling, and even if there was, I know you are more than capable of telling yourself apart from someone else. You just haven't been trying, you lazy bones. Sans groaned, throwing his head back against the couch. Fuck. Language. This explains so much. Of course it does, and you would have known sooner if you had come to me earlier like you absolutely should have. Papyrus let his brother have a moment, then clapped him on the shoulder. Now go back and spend some time with your date mates, because Lust was very, very happy about something, and I think he wants to spend more time with you. Yeah. Sans stood up. Thanks, bro. You are most welcome. What would you do without me? Sans chuckled right up until he disappeared, leaving Papyrus feeling like his work was done. Red couldn't believe how stupid he was. Stupid, stupid, stupid. He'd let some stranger into his pet's apartment. He'd let himself be manipulated again. He nearly got his pets killed again. What the actual fuck was wrong with him? Stupid, stupid, stupid. It was Dance's brother. Suave was Dance's brother, and Suave had mistaken him for Lust, which kind of made him a moron, but that's not Red's problem. Suave was Dance's brother, and what the hell was Red thinking? Just bringing any old asshole into Lust's apartment like he fucking owned the place, like he had any right. What the fuck? Red clutched at the counter, completely ignoring the last plate left for him. It was slightly burnt, left sitting a few moments too long in the pan when Red had frozen after hearing just how badly he had fucked everything up. Not that Red cared. A little char never hurt anyone. Not that he was particularly hungry at the moment. The idea of food honestly made his midriff lurch unpleasantly, made his non-existent throat burn with the taste of bile and stale magic. He didn't even deserve food after how badly he had fucked up, and he needed to stop seeing things that weren't there, or in this case, hearing things. Dance may have pluralized the word monster, but that was just an accident. He was pissed and he wasn't thinking before he spoke. Hell, Red had been pissed and he probably just hadn't heard right. And even if he had heard right, it didn't mean the second person had been him. And even if it was, which it absolutely wasn't, Red certainly didn't deserve it. Stupid, stupid, stupid! Red was brought out of his internal turmoil by the sound of a soft crack. He looked down, seeing that his claws had ruined Lust's counter, leaving deep scratches. He had accidentally put enough pressure on it to crack the plastic laminate. Red cursed under his breath, yanking his hands back and putting them to better use cleaning the parts of the kitchen he hadn't broken like a dumbass. Stupid, stupid, stupid. By the time he was done with the pan and the bowls, Red had calmed down enough to choke down dinner. He gingerly picked up the plate. The last thing he needed was to break Lust's kitchenware too, and tilted it at an angle until he had inhaled the meal, not bothering to taste it. Then he washed that plate too and put it away before his clumsy ass could break that like he broke the fucking counter. Red, you moron. How the fuck are you going to pay for that when you can't even afford rent in your own apartment? You fucking useless piece of shit. You nearly got your pets killed. Sweetheart? Lust's voice pierced through the fog of Red's self-loathing. Red turned to face him before realizing he didn't actually want to face him now. Fuck. Red's usual eloquence eluded him. How the fuck was he supposed to apologize for an unforgivable failure? He stuffed his stupid claws in his stupid shorts pockets. His hand pressed hard against the velvet box there. Red felt his sockets burn at the unfairness of it all. Lust set 3 empty plates on the counter by the sink. His eyelids caught sight of the cracks, the scratch marks. He looked up at Red, and Red braced for it, for the denouncement. He'd probably just lost Lust his deposit, and he nearly got him killed by letting a fucking stranger into their safe place. What the fuck, Red? What the fuck have you done? Red, what's wrong? Lust darted to his side, reaching up to cup his jaw on both sides. What the fuck you think? Red snarled, his disgust at himself translating, once again, to vitriol at just about everything else. Lust didn't flinch, not really, but Red could see his joints lock up, making his posture more rigid. I don't know. Fuck, just fucking... The warmth of Lust's hand against his maxilla and mandible gave Red something else to think about, another bit of data to take up already overtaxed mental bandwidth. Something had to give. Red closed his sockets, leaning into the touch, willing it to override everything. I'm sorry. For what? Lust pressed closer, pressing his teeth to Red's clavicle through his thin shirt. Sweetheart, it's just a counter. It was ugly anyway. It's not just a fucking counter. I almost got you fucking dusted. Lust froze. Red, no, you didn't. I let a fucking stranger into the fucking house because I was a fucking dumb shit what thought it'd be nice to surprise you with your bro, and I didn't even fucking know who the fuck it was I was letting in, and it could have been fucking anyone. I almost got you killed. Lust grabbed Red by the collar, yanking him down and pulling him into a kiss, cutting him off. Lust was warm and safe, and Red almost ruined everything. He brought one hand out and curled it around his sweetheart, pulling him closer, unable to suppress the low, satisfied rumble that bubbled up from his ribs. Lust mewled against his teeth, clutching at him like Red was the only thing keeping him alive. Everyone makes mistakes, sweetheart, Lust murmured when he finally pulled out of the kiss, nuzzling into Red's shoulder. And it's kind of funny, actually. Definitely gonna be a story to tell. Red sighed. I fucked up. It was a mistake, Lust insisted. And it was funny right up until Suave decided he wanted to be, judgmental prick. I was thinking provocative, but maybe. Red sighed, pulling his other hand carefully from his pocket so as not to let the box fall out. He reached up, scratching tenderly at Lust's jaw. I'm still sorry. Sweetie, I'm not even mad. Lust purred, tilting his head to one side to give Red more room to maneuver. And when Dance gets back, we have something to talk to you about. Well, to ask you. Anything you want, sweetheart. Red rumbled, desperate for any chance to make up for his failure, even if Lust didn't see it as such. Lust made a thoughtful little humming noise. Couch, please? Red chuckled, gesturing for his pet to lead the way. Lust only pulled back enough to start walking, keeping close. Red slung his arm around Lust's neck and tugged gently, the weight on his crusty black soul lifting a little with how positively Lust responded to it, to him. They were halfway across the living room when Dance stepped back into the apartment between them and the couch. Hey guys, Mel here. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed it, please like this video, and if you want to see more, consider subscribing. I look forward to bringing you the next chapter. Bye!